Good morning and welcome to Jacob in Love. I am your hostess, Jacob, and I'm kind of doing this a little bit differently than I normally do. I'm really kind of trying to make some changes in my life with the information that's coming in and all the energies that are coming in now to our beautiful planet. And today I'm going to be sharing with you a message from the Arcturians, channeling the Christ frequency, so with help from our Ascended Master Jesus. And I often do this. I don't usually formally announce that that's what I do, but I think maybe that's probably a good idea. So kind of gives people an idea of what I do and where I come from, and I think it'll reach a broader spectrum of people, those who are interested in extra terrestrial beings, and also very Christ, with a very Christ-oriented background, as mine was. I grew up in a Catholic household, primarily, and also Christian as well. So I've studied the Bible a lot in my life, and I think that there's a reason for that. I don't believe in coincidences, and the Arcturians don't either. And Arcturians are they're a ninth-dimensional being. I'm the multi-dimensional being, but I primarily channel the Arcturians, and I have been since 2019, so it's been over a year now, and it's been a wild ride. They've really taught me a lot, and it's so important to me and for my mission here to share that knowledge with you. So that's what I'm going to do today, and this is all in light of everything that this year has held, and kind of that it's drawing to a close. I want to share some things with you that I picked up from the Arcturians as they teach me when I read through the scriptures of the Holy Bible, and with the help of our Ascended Master Jesus, I'm able to do that. So I want to talk about how this year has affected a lot of people. And it's affected myself. I'm typically a server at a local restaurant, and that's obviously been very difficult this year. And we're all having money issues, or issues with money. Money's not having issues with us. So the Arcturians want you to know that money really is an illusion. That's really hard for people to understand, but I'll just explain it as quickly as I can for those of you who are struggling financially and who have a hard time understanding that money is illusion. And the reason it is an illusion is because everything is energy, and money is energy. And the energy that actually powers the money is us. It's that dedication and hard work that we put into it that gives it value. However, we are in a system that has been controlled by some very dark beings, and money is their power and control, and fear also, and a lot of us experience fear through not having that illusionary thing, which is money. The true power and energy comes from us. And so when we go to work every day in this system, we go to work every day and we work really hard, and our time is valuable, and we know that. And the thing is that we have this system that we live in, and that system decides what our energy is worth. And we know that our energy is worth so much more. So it's really important to realize that you truly are abundant, and you are rich, and you do not need a dollar sign attached to your name or your bank account that tells you how valuable you are, because it all comes from inside. It all comes from your determination and your physical willpower and your intention. Whether that intention go to be to yourself, your family, all of those. And if you're somebody who likes to donate money, that energy intention comes from that as well. So it's definitely been a rough one, and a lot of us have felt like very hopeless. They want to let you know that that you are provided for in higher realms. And I definitely feel that way. I mean, I'm still here. I'm still alive. And it's been a rough one. And you're here. You're alive. You're watching us. So congratulations. We've made it this far. And we are now past the great conjunction of Saturn and Jupiter, which happened on December 21st of this year, 2020. 2020 is really the year for clear vision. If you think about 2020 vision, this is the year where all of the darkness comes to light and we're able to see. And with all of these beautiful energies that are coming into our solar system now, lots of veils being lifted and continually being lifted, really liberates us into freedom. However, with awakening, as we are doing, comes a lot of turmoil, a lot of picking up the rug and sweeping the junk out from underneath and seeing what's all there, all that's been hidden and all that we've hidden from ourselves and our own lives, and it's really rough. So with all of that pain comes awakening, and I want to touch on the Bible and what's really being called to me to share with you today from our highest, the highest dimensions. And I'm going to throw some storylines out there from the Bible, and I'm going to reflect on today and what that means and what I see when I read with my spiritual eyes, because the Holy Bible really is not meant to be read by human eyes, but perceived by our spirit, and that's the love frequency. There's a lot of stuff in the Bible that just is very fearful, and it's scary and contradicting seemingly. So I just want to kind of go along with that. I want to start with using John the Baptist as an example, and I'm going to relate myself to John here, and that is that John was a messenger, and he came to create a pathway for a Christ, and he said that was his mission, was to prepare the way for the one who was to come into the world. And first of all, I mean, John's story seems so tragic, but naturally, as an alchemist, I transmute or transfer that negative energy that's in the story into something beautiful. All it is really just a matter of, flipping the switch and changing perspective. So, first of all, John was a messenger. He said that, when they came to question him, the authorities, on who he was, he said that he was the one to prepare the way for the Lord. And I really believe, I relate into that. I'm aligning my chakras all year, the chakras, 7 main chakras within our body, that when they become blocked or out of balance, we become sick or ill, and we can't receive what it is that we need for nourishment. And when I say nourishment, I'm not speaking about food. In fact, I haven't even eaten yet today. It's about 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and I decided that I wasn't going to give my message to you, or I wasn't going to eat until I gave my message to you, because I'm going to share with you what I have eaten or taken in from the universe before I feed my body. So I can feed you the knowledge that I have taken in from these beautiful star beings, the Arcturians. And so that nourishment that I take in through my body, and relating that to John the Baptist, is the knowledge. He spoke about, he told the Pharisees, there's one that stands among you that you do not know, and I am not good enough even to untie his sandals. And to me, if I were John, I know that I would be speaking about my higher self. My higher self, which is really who I'm channeling. It's higher dimensional aspects of myself in the Arcturians. That I am not worthy of them. I've stood in the presence of my higher self, and I cried immediately. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever experienced, and I'd like to touch on that at another point in time, but just relating that to John and what he said. And he said that, he referenced untying the sandals. I mean, how many times in a day, possibly in your youth were you a child and someone would come and tie your shoes for you so that you didn't trip? But at the end of the day, we untie our own shoes or our own sandals. So again, I believe that John was referencing his higher self and all that he was channeling as a messenger. And I'm doing that today, channeling a message to deliver to you. Also, a tragic part of his story was supposedly they cut off his head. I transmute the story and transfer that energy into love, and the way that I do that is that they weren't really seeking his head. They were seeking his mind. They wanted their minds to be open, like John. That's what they were really seeking. They were seeking the wisdom. They were seeking the knowledge. And so I kind of want to bring that up. A lot of us feel like we've been in jail this year. I definitely have felt that way. It's really hard to make that change for a lot of people, to be cooped up. But John endured that himself. He was put into jail before his head was cut off, so to speak, before he was separated. In that sense, his body and his mind, so spiritually, the wheat and the chaff are being separated. And our minds are being opened, and our consciousness is raising. And so with that, I want to jump right to, I'll just touch real quickly on the story where Jesus sat down by the well and spoke with the woman. We're in the age of Aquarius now. That conjunction and the winter solstice, can you believe it all happened at the same time? And that's just unheard of. And so the first conjunction in Aquarius. So Jesus sat down by the well. And that's the Christ consciousness, coming and sitting by the well and asking for a drink of water. In the 3D perspective, drink a lot of water. That's really what it's saying. We're in the age of Aquarius. Drink a lot of water. Water heals you. It comes with its own energy. He also explains to the woman, because she says the well's deep. The well's deep here. Where's your bucket? Challenging Jesus, testing him, and he in turn testing her by asking her to reveal her truth. And here we are again, we're learning a lot of hidden truths, occult knowledge, and everything is coming to light. The Bible says that nothing that was ever hidden will not come to light. So here we are. And Jesus also says that, I can give you a drink, and you'll never be thirsty again. And that is the 5D perspective, or the perspective I'm trying to bring from him to you, or from the Arcturians to you, is that that hunger and thirst for righteousness, that knowledge. That's really what he's talking about. Is the Christ consciousness will give you knowledge, but you really need to clean yourself out. You need to clean yourself up. You need to drink a lot of water and raise your frequency with that raw water, as the age of Aquarius is doing, as our solar system is just being thrust forward and spinning around, and the universe expanding, and us just reaching further and further and further out into this growing, expanding universe. All of these new energies are coming in the age of Aquarius that are raising our frequency. So this year, while it's been really wild, surrounding this virus is very crucial, and I'll tell you why. Here's another reference. After Jesus was put into jail, now there's the jail reference again. Here we are we're all stuck at home, right? We all feel like we're in jail, and we kind of are, and our minds are kind of jailed, right? Because we're stuck on our devices, on our phones, and our mind is really being challenged, which I would kind of be able to relate in a 3D perspective to a concentration camp. You're camped out in one spot, and your mind is just going through all these things, and it's being retrained, right? Like a concentration camp, and you're having to do all of this work spiritually, mindfully. Meditation is really just mindfulness, and having to learn how to think differently and perceive differently. And again, that's what I'm trying to offer you here too. Jesus was in jail, so go back to my story, or his story, history. And as he was being persecuted, they cast a crown of thorns upon his head. When I heard about this virus in the beginning, and what it was called, corona, it means crown, and I believe this is a mind control virus, and the crown of thorns that was cast upon Christ, or the Christ consciousness mind, which is where we're headed, and this dark elite of beings is trying to do is to bring our frequency down, our Christ consciousness. They don't want us reaching that level of knowledge, and they need to bring us down. So if they cast a spell, a dark spell on humanity, and spells work, man, hey, that's why we spell words, right? And this word, this nasty word I'm not going to say, it really has cast a dark spell upon humanity. And if you believe it, it is true. And I honestly believe, and the Arcturians tell me too, that if we believe in something strong enough, it makes it true. And so I believe that Christ's story tells us something today. That crown of thorns that was cast upon his head, so much like this word that's been cast upon us called crown virus. And the virus itself looks like a morning star, kind of like Lucifer, the morning star, which is set out to wipe out, people and humanity and take their souls. And it looks like thorns. It's all thorny. It has these little nodules on it that look like little crowns. I don't think that's. I don't believe that is coincidental. I don't believe in coincidences. So the crown virus has been cast upon the Christ consciousness to bring it down. And after that crown was cast upon his head, he was put upon a cross. The cross in the Bible was originally, the scripture originally said, "Take up your staff and follow me." A lot of people assume that is a walking stick, and while you need, a proper walking stick to ground you to the earth along your journey, that is very a good way to take that. However, I'm going to take it a bit higher, a bit deeper, and higher in frequency. When Jesus was raised upon that cross, or his staff, I see that as a music staff. That's a frequency, and in Christ consciousness, you raise your frequency, and it just keeps raising and raising and raising. And down here at the bottom, you have fear and anger and grief and so many negative feelings. And right about the middle, you hit the heart space. It's kind of like your chakras too. Your chakras down at the bottom here, you deal with your root chakra, which is fear and suffering. And the higher you go, the more knowledge you take in, the healthier you are, the better you feel. And Christ went way, 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 way up on that cross, and that just is to really trying to demonstrate the Christ consciousness as he is raised upon the cross, as his frequency raises, and he dies for humanity. And that's what we're doing right now. We're dying at a lower consciousness level. Our lower consciousness level is being in upheaval. And that's the divine feminine in us that's just being stirred up in us, that kundalini snake. Jesus said, just as this snake rose around the pole in the desert, so must the Son of Man. I find that very interesting, because in a lot of cultures, the serpent is almost like deified. And that kundalini snake, really, it is meant to represent the DNA strands. But not just the DNA double helix, but the growth of spiritual DNA. And that's really what we're coming to as we close out this year. And so Jesus was rose around the pole like the snake in the desert. And they say that when you hang a snake, something about how you hang a snake on a pole, which is so weird. I heard this just the other day. I think it was yesterday. I was watching something about ancient cultures and the deifying of the reptile. Is that if you hang it on a pole for 3 days, it begins to grow. The sun dries it out, and it's without water, it begins to thirst. And Jesus did the same thing on the cross. He thirsted. He said, "I thirst." And essentially what that did was it released that old skin from the snake. It kind of pops that skin open around the snake, and it's able to then to kind of undergo in that sense, in those 3 days, like a metamorphosis kind of thing, like a caterpillar and a butterfly, before it spreads its wings. And after Jesus, died, and again he said he thirsted, he was put in a tomb. I find that's also very interesting. Like snakes, they kind of crawl into their hole or whatnot. And after 3 days, Mary, or the divine feminine, which also is the divine feminine in us, again, that's being kind of stirred up, is the first to witness Christ's resurrection. But as she comes upon the tomb where the stone has been rolled away, and I want you to think about the tomb as being the mind. The mind has been closed off. It's been dark, and so when you take away the stone, it's like clearing the mind. It's that block being rolled away, where you couldn't take in that divine cosmic knowledge that you've never been introduced to before because of the human condition, the conditioning over humans that's been going on for thousands of years. So essentially that stone being rolled away really represents the third eye opening. And in ancient Egypt, they would often have a cobra right at the forehead on their headdresses. And that was to say that they knew themselves. And on their temples, it would say, know thyself. And that is, again, that's that divine feminine that we've been so suppressed from over the years. Everything, I'm just trying to train the left brain constantly by making us write with our right hand and telling us that writing with our left hand is bad. The left hand actually, using the left side of the body, activates the right brain, which is feminine. And using the right side of the body activates left masculine and divine masculine. And we need both. We need both in order to create the Christ consciousness. So as our DNA upgrades and changes, through all this suffering that we're going through and all this upheaval that's coming to the surface, we learn to appreciate, we have gratitude, we have love, and then we become really brave, and then we start to see that our freedom is in sight, and our cup is just overjoyed and or overfilled, and we're just overjoyed. And a great reference for that would be the Hawkins scale. If you've ever seen it, it looks like this. It's like a V, like a chalice or a cup, like the Holy Grail. The Holy Grail is not it's not a real cup. It's within us. It's the frequency scale. We are divine. Human is divine, and it's all in our blood. And so our consciousness, again, like the Hawkins scale, it shows that divine cup. And when you are filled to the top with that Christ consciousness, then you are filled with the blood of Jesus. And you are just at the top, full. You are just filled with just immense bliss and enlightenment and pure Tao, and it just feels so good and so freeing. And so your mind just becomes just open like a cup, and you can take in all this wisdom and all this knowledge, and essentially, as Jesus's garments were left behind and his body gone, to symbolize that Jesus had entered a spiritual state. That's he went into heaven, and heaven is that full cup. It is the fifth dimension. It's full of love, and his body ascended there. He ascended with his body, which is what we are doing today. We're ascending into heaven in our bodies, and our spiritual DNA is being reborn as the divine feminine comes in, and the divine masculine is met by its bride, and Christ consciousness, or Christ, or Jesus, like on Christmas, is born. And so essentially we are going to be shedding our old that old DNA, that old reptilian way of thinking, as our blood really is reptilian. We have been bred by extraterrestrials. That sounds like really wild, right? But it's just so true. I really encourage you and challenge you to look into how similar we are to reptiles. It's the reptilian DNA that came in and met with, the first early humans or apes, that created who we are today. And so I don't think humans are really going to fundamentally change physically too much. but our DNA will be upgraded spiritually, and so we will come into knowledge. The age of Aquarius is the water bearer age. It's the information age. Water is information. We're coming out of Pisces, which is the age of belief. Lies that we believed, into knowledge and knowing without being guided or told by our government or people who've just been regurgitating fake knowledge over and over and over again because it's what they've been taught. We are now being taught from higher realms. We share it with others, just as I'm doing with you today. With that being said, I mean, that's a lot to throw at you. But there is no coincidence that what we're going through this year is to raise our consciousness levels, and that we are moving into 5D or fifth dimensional consciousness, that high Christ consciousness, and those old beings that have been governing our world, this world here for so long, they cannot go above fourth density consciousness. They can't. So as we reach 5D, they can't go. And Jesus actually told the Pharisees and the authorities, he said, you cannot go where I'm going. And that is exactly what he meant. That he's just going to be in a different state of mind, frame of mind. He doesn't need anyone to govern his mind anymore. Government. Govern the mind control. Hence this virus again. Rise above it. Rise above it like Christ. Rise up on your cross. Take up your cross. Take up your frequency and follow him, as he said. And what he was really saying is raise your frequency in love. And if we can all live at the heart level or above, that is true heaven, because there is nothing but love in heaven, and fifth dimensional consciousness is heaven. It's all about love. I know, again, I threw a lot at you today. If you have any questions, please message down below, and I will gladly answer any questions for you. This is a real leap, right? It's a leap of faith. You're going from third dimensional in a black book Bible that we've been reading for so long, and trying to understand that third dimensional consciousness and transmute it or transfer it into a higher level of consciousness and perception, conception, and understanding. And that's really what I'm doing today. And that might be hard for a lot of people who are kind of still stuck in 3D, but this whole year 2020 is all about bridging that gap. It's that quantum gap, that fourth density that we have, and it has been a dense year, but we're almost there. We're almost out. You just have to believe in yourself, believe in love and high frequency. And with that being said, as always, I'm here for you. I love you, and if you need anything, just please mention it down below. Like and subscribe if you find this information to be valuable to you. And I leave thanking the Arcturians for the time and the knowledge that they give me to share with you. And I thank the universe for my children being as quiet as they have been. I don't know if you've heard them in the background. My other half is attempting to kind of control that situation while mom is in here giving her message. But anyway, I hope you have a lovely day. Like and subscribe if you find this information valuable. Okay. I love you. Namaste.